Good evening, everyone. So glad to have you joining this evening. Give me a shout out. Let me know you're in the room and where you're watching. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you are, so grateful you are joining me this evening for episode 22. Can you believe we have done 22 of these live streams? 22 live streams. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it's been 22 or about to be 22. But I'm grateful that you are here this evening. Every week at 7 p.m. Central Time, I meet with you and we paint. I have been painting for about 7, 8 months now and am enjoying the process, enjoying learning, enjoy chatting with you all. So grateful to have you. I see my friend Lola is in the house. Thank you, as always, for joining. You're always, I don't know if you're always the first one on the live stream, but you're always the first one to chime in and say hello. So I'm so grateful to have you, my friend, and happy that you have joined us yet again this evening. I'm excited about the painting we're going to do tonight. It's actually a still life, which I don't know if it's really still life if it's not in real life, but we're going to do a picture. We're going to paint a painting of a picture of a still life. So how about that? We're going to try something different. We've been doing live wildlife the last few weeks. In the paintings, we did the lion, of course. We did the parrot. And then last week we did the stork, or not the stork, the pelican. So last week is the pelican. This is what we did last week on the live stream, and it turned out, I think, really nicely with the kind of magenta background. That was a decision we all made together, and it kind of turned out really nice. I really like how he turned out. So this pelican turned out great. That's what we did last week, and we've done some. But the week before, I guess we did the country road. So we did landscape, but we've done quite a few wildlife ones. So we're going to take a break from that this evening. Mom and Dad, welcome. So glad to have you all as well joining this evening. The last few days, those of you who are following on either Facebook or Instagram may have seen what I've been working on the last few days. We got a crazy snowstorm here in the South. As you may have heard, Texas is getting a lot of publicity. They had really tragic situation in Texas. We had it bad here in Arkansas as well, but not near to the extent, or the statewide extent that Texas did. We had the weather. We didn't have the kind of complete collapse of our infrastructure. So I did not run out of heat, thankfully, or electricity, but I was kind of hunkered down for a week because when it snows in the South, I think our town, I think Little Rock maybe has 10, 15, maybe 20 plows. And most of those are, I think, probably just pickup trucks with blades on the front of them, public works trucks. So not full plows. So all that to say, there's still some snow out, although today it was in the mid to upper 30s and we had a lot of meltage. But I've just pretty much stayed put. All of that to say, I had Thursday and Friday off, so I did some extra painting. So this is what I worked on the last couple of days. These grapes. This was also a kind of a picture of a still life. I finished up, those of you that have been following, I just posted, so you may not have seen it, but I finished up the detail work, all of the reflective work. I really refined it. I refined the tone and the coloring in the grapes. Working on specifically, if you are looking closely from the standpoint of painting technique, I want to point out a few things that may be interesting to you, those of you who are painters or interested in painting. So specifically worked on these two grapes to make those, and then the light coming in here specifically to make that the focal point. Also in the original picture, you can see the light almost shining through the grapes. And so in this one particularly, you can see by using this bright kind of reddish orange color almost next to the cooler kind of purple reds, it gives that illusion that the light is shining through the grape, and the light is shining off the different surfaces. So kind of interesting as a study. One of the other things that's interesting that I'll point out, before I started painting, I never realized how many colors are a, in a picture. For example, the reflection you see here, there are some purples and blues and grays and yellows and whites, when normally when I would look at that, I would look at it one side and say, oh, it's white, it's reflecting white on the side of this grape, because the brain interprets, oh, the grape is red or purplish and the color is white. But actually, when you look at it, the colors are different. So that's something fun that is cool to learn. And once you start paying attention to that, it's not terribly difficult, as long as you have the patience to keep adjusting the colors and really look at what color's there. And then when you adjust one, you have to go back and adjust the others typically. So that's kind of something I've learned. Hey, Jared, thanks for joining. So glad to have you joining this evening. So this is the most recent. It's probably, I think, one of my best from the standpoint of composition and execution. So really happy with how this one turned out. Probably this and the lion painting are my favorites that I've done in the last couple of months. So, but we're going to see what we can do this evening with this picture behind me. So let me put that up on your screen so you can see what we are working with. This is going to be the reference photo for the painting this evening. And we're going to get started on this. Oh, I'm standing behind the, there we go, behind the reference photo. So we're going to get started this evening. Again, if you have questions as we go along, or you have comments, I'll solicit your feedback as we go, or answer any questions. Feel free to chat with me. I always enjoy chatting with you all. Okay, I got my nifty little smock on. Let me pull y'all in. I actually did, I think this is I don't know what size this is, but somewhere like a maybe 12 by 15 or 11 by 17 something. It's just a canvas board, but I did go ahead and do some basic sketching on this. So I'm starting with a basic sketch just so that the composition is relatively correct, but we will get started putting in the values and, of course, the colors as we go. I'm going to switch my camera over here. That way I will spare y'all's motion sickness, spare you all motion sickness as I get this set up so you can look over my shoulder a little bit. All right. Let's get started. Dive right in. Again, want to welcome those of you who are joining. Those of you who are joining us in the last few minutes. I'm going to move this just a tad so it sits right up in your corner. All right, so glad to have you. So what we want to start, I've talked a lot, I always talk a lot about values. And one of the techniques I've been using recently is to take a black and white picture. Typically I have a black and white picture up in the corner, which I didn't do this time. But I've been taking a black and white picture with my phone as I go through the painting. And that lets me know where my values are off and helps me make adjustments as I go. So that's kind of what we're going to do this evening. We're going to try to get the values as good as possible at the beginning. So let's start with let's do some of this. Well, let's just do, because it's the main focal point and I want to start. I'm always attracted to blue colors. I don't know why. But let's start with the blue. I'm going to be using some cerulean blue, which is almost the exact color we need. and then some probably phthalo blue to darken it. But so the cerulean is almost exactly the color we need to put right in here. So we'll begin to do that. But I'm going to start up here with kind of a darker color. Because there's kind of a shadow on the top of the, at the top of the bowl. We'll get some color on this canvas. Probably have to do a couple of, it'll be interesting to see. I don't paint on these canvas boards very often, so I'll be interested to see how it behaves different. It doesn't have as much give as that's actually a stretch canvas, so we will see how it goes. Again, I'm not going for any detail at all right now, just looking at the value. We'll lighten the value up or raise the value as we go down here in the center of the bowl. There's some lighter value, and then there's more dark value as we go down, especially down at the edge of the bowl. There's more shadow, and so we'll just put that in, and we'll adjust this as well as the shape as we go. So that'll be good. Notice already how we start by just putting some values in, we start to get the volume of the item starts to appear. I think this dark value needs to come further down on the, it's right here. There we go. Just real quick. Okay. Now we want to do some we actually need to probably do a little mixing. Darken this up a little bit. Let's see. Gotten in the habit of mixing blacks and grays, well, almost blacks and grays, from ultramarine blue and burnt umber. So we get kind of that dark color, but it's more realistic and authentic as opposed to a true black, which is because obviously this isn't the complete absence of light in these areas. It's the shadow. So we'll just put that in a little bit. So we have some of that. Then what we should be able to do is take a picture of this black and white, and the value should be correct or pretty close. So, all right. Now I want to kind of, oops, that's not going to work. See? Messed up there. I was going to try to remove this hard line, but we'll just have to do more painting because it's just, or we'll have to do more layers, which we'll do anyway. Notice how this color is really off from the actual image, and it's okay that it's off. The actual image is much more kind of greenish gray blue than this cerulean blue, but we will get there. We will get there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is go in and try to drop in some of the flower tones. So we're going to take some crimson, some magenta, and maybe a little violet. So I'm taking some magenta here, which is straight out of the tube, some of the crimson to bring in some of the reddish orange hues. Then we may add some of this purple, this light purple, to cool it down. But I want to get this on, see how it works. So when I look at this, I want to get okay. Actually, I'm going to do something really weird. See if it works. So I decided to mix a little of the blue, which should get us more of a purple crimson. Again, because we have these dark values on this side, cooler, darker values this direction, and then the brighter values because of the shadow. And then we have the brighter values up above. Okay. All right. We'll do the rose there that's laying on the ground. That's almost a almost pure white back there. All right, now I have to make some artistic choices, which I think I am going to focus on setting this right here as the center of like where I want people eyes drawn, right on the flower, and specifically the light coming in from this side. So like we did in the lion photo, I'm going to put more of this side. I'm going to bring the shadow all the way into the edge of the bowl so that it almost blurs into the shadow. That way it almost looks like a watercolor right now. Yeah, absolutely agree. I think because I'm using a really fairly large filbert brush, fairly large filbert brush and very loose strokes, specifically to keep myself from doing too much detail at this point, which I may regret at some point, but I still think that I can create something really nice. So I want to go in like we did with the blue and the kind of pinks and reds. And I want to go in with the greens and just kind of put in some I don't actually want to do, I think with the greens here, I don't think I want to actually do much detail as is in the picture because I think I want to just blend that right in. That way, again, the eye is drawn right to the flower. So I don't want a whole lot of detail there. I think. That's the plan. That's the plan, Stan. Okay. Now, what I want to do before I get too far is come in. I want to gray it real far. So I'm mixing a color that's a gray purple. I put brown and blue in this, which is what I used before, these colors I used before, because I want to come in here and start, oh, that's coming in very purple. Nope, that's not what I want. So we will, let's cool that down quite some. I want it much more gray and not as purple. I don't know if that comes across on the camera, but it came across very purple. That's not what I want. So to cool down purple or red tones, what color do you all think that I added to cool it down? Notice now it's hopefully much more gray. What color do you think? Yeah, see, I think that's going to be better. What do you all think I used to tone that down? What's your guess? Any guesses on what color I added to this to make it more brown? Or gray, I guess. Actually added a tad of, which you may see in there, green. Green, green, green. Green tones down. They're opposite. Green and red are opposite on the color wheel, and so green tones down or warms up, I guess. If something's, which purple is a red tone or has more red in it, obviously, and so yeah, that's what we did. That's what we did. So now I want to come in specifically with a very definitive Yeah, look at this. I'll show you in practice. See how this brown is the red is shown through. When I mix the green, all of a sudden, now it mutes that red and turns to gray. So it's like a dark gray, darker color at least. Hey there, Bob G. I am not doing a snow sculpture. There's plenty of snow meltage today, which I'm grateful for. But nope, not doing a snow. I should be painting a snow scene, but I think most of us here, I'm sure you could attest to the same, are just fine letting spring come in, and we are fine letting the Northerners have their winter back. I don't mind winter like this that's a week long and lets me return to spring. Okay, notice that we'll see how it turns out, so everybody hold their breath for me. I am going much darker than the reference photo here with this, the color, and bringing it all the way into these leaves, almost to where they're not visible. This canvas board takes a lot to coat, a lot of paint to coat this bad boy. May have to do like we did last week, where I have to I may have to change my water halfway, or 20 minutes in, once I get the background. Thanks, Lola. I am gonna see. I'm just like we do every week. I mean, I'm basically exploring with you all, see if we can make what we hope to do make sense and work. I don't know. It's all experiment, right? Although last week the magenta background turned out all right, didn't it, with the pelican? So I do want to lighten this dramatically, I think. Coming up into here. Because I do want to, again, I want the everything to lead kind of to the center. So oh, that's a happy accident. So I don't know if y'all can tell this, but I mixed this gray color with a little more blue down in this corner, and I kind of like that because it's more greenish brown up here, but I like kind of the variations of those dark colors, so I may just continue doing that. Literally every wonder if I agree, Lola. I was really pleasantly surprised with how that turned out, because it wasn't something that I would have chosen naturally or normally, but kind of everybody, and then looking at the colors that we were doing, it really turned out nice. think I actually want it even lighter, especially as we get up here. Leading into the flower. Want it like basically the light as an arrow, the light coming in from here saying, hey, this is where I want you to look. So that's what we're gonna do, try to do at least. And then anything to the edges, we'll start taking it darker. Someday maybe I'll start toning these here's another little tip I learned for those of you who are artists or want to be artists. In this type of thing where you have blending of different colors happening, if you get hard edges and they, especially with acrylics, they start drying, I learned this week, if you take a little white or lighter color of whatever and bring it back in, then it helps soften the edges of the dark. So you can blend after something's already dried. You can just keep figuring out, which is what I'll do after this initial coat, which is fairly dark, because I'm going to bring the dark all the way around so that, again, this is the main focal point. We'll adjust this background so it does what we want it to do. So I'm being pretty, I wanted to say impractical, but not impractical. I'm being not very precise, because it doesn't really matter as long as we get some color on, and we get the general feel, and we like what it's, the direction it's going. I think in the final version, I'd like these corners really like a blue-black color. Really dark. But we'll let these undertones dry first. It takes so much to coat this canvas because it's so... What I should have done, I think, perhaps, is oh, is it? The reference photo is backwards. Ah, you know what? There we are. That's why. My apologies, y'all. Thank you, Lola. Thanks for saying something. My I always have to remember to flip my camera. Please, anytime that is like not making sense, remind me, because the app I use shows me the image backwards, so it looks correct when I look at it here on my display. But I apologize. Y'all have been looking at this backwards the whole time. You're probably like, what is he doing? Trying to trick us with like negative image or something opposite of what we're looking at. Oh my goodness. Well, some days you have to just start going senile at some point. And that is clearly one of my times to go a little crazy. Y'all may appreciate I went out because I was getting a little crazy by Wednesday or Thursday, because we were in the house since last week, basically, because we started staying home or working from home again. Because, you know, in the South, when a big storm comes, we have to cancel 3 days before it shows up, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I got to stay at home and stay safe. So, but I went out and decided I was going to shovel my apartment walk, like right out front and right out the back door, just to kind of, so my neighbors wouldn't have to, if they had to go out, wouldn't have to climb over the snow. And I shoveled snow for about 30 or 40 minutes, and then I realized, oh my goodness, this is hurting. And my poor lower back, oh my goodness. I am still struggling 3 days later. But it's nice when the 30s and 40s come, because if you shoveled, then the melting happens really quick and you don't end up with refreeze in the evening on your sidewalk. So not ungrateful that I did it, but my body is like, what were you thinking, old man? Snowblower. Yeah, they don't sell those down here, Lola. I was lucky that I brought 3 or 4 snow shovels from Wisconsin when I lived up there. So I still have 2 or 3 snow shovels in my possession. But I saw somebody trying to shovel the snow around their car in the middle of the street, got stuck in the middle of the street, and they were trying to shovel the snow from under the tires with a cookie sheet, looked like. And people were using kitchen brooms to try to clear snow. So yeah, we're just not prepared. I learned that lesson quick a few years ago when I moved down here. I just try to stay in when the weather only hits once every, I mean, this is the worst I've ever seen since I've been here, and it's 7, 8 years. So, but when it does hit like this, you just let it pass, because, like, you know, this week it will get up to almost 60, so it'll melt very fast, because otherwise, when I first moved here, I tried to, like, because I was like, oh, I can drive in this, and I just assumed they clear the roads like everywhere else I'd lived, but I didn't realize, no, they don't even own that type of equipment. So it's definitely something where I just try to stay warm, try to stay in, and if I can, stay out of the bad weather. Okay, we're almost done here, y'all. It's very ugly, but we'll get there. I have to have faith. Get this background in. Then we can start doing some more refining. Okay, first run, kind of got it through. Okay, so we have some of the color in, some of the tone, and it's really ugly. Ooh, so now we have to start repairing things. How long did I live in Wisconsin? Lola, I was in Wisconsin for about 3 years. I think it was about 2010 to 2013. I was in southern Wisconsin, just outside Madison. I love that part of the country. I know you're not super close to there, but on the other side of the lake, I loved going up. We'd go to Lake Superior and Lake Michigan in the summers and spring, and it was a great part of the country to live in. Really enjoyed it for sure. Okay. Let me take a little bit of this brown gray and just pop it in here. See if we can. I never did take the ferry. We one time, one weekend, we had a long weekend. We drove across the UP to Sault Ste. Marie and wanted to cross over to the Lower Peninsula, but we just didn't have time to do that and then drive all the way back because it's about a 8 or 9 hour drive, maybe 10-hour drive from the Upper Peninsula, the edge of the Upper Peninsula, all the way back to Madison. So just didn't have enough time and then never got back there. But I would have loved to take the ferry across the width of the lake. That would be really a cool ride, I'm sure. Okay. When I look at this, so what I'm looking at, again, value-wise, I really like how this is the highest value, like the reference photo is right here. I want to actually, I think, lighten this up or perhaps keep it this value but brighten these values. And the ridge of this value, the ridge of the bowl here, I think is where I want the lightest values. And then this, a lot of this to just disappear into shadow in the final say. So that's kind of what I want to set up as we start making some more decisions. I'm a little lost right now. Not lost, but trying to decide now what I want to do. Not sure I can execute what I want to do. So now most of this is dry. So let's see. We'll just start. Yeah, I don't know how many miles that is, but I imagine it takes several hours, doesn't it? A couple hours to go across. All right. Trying to decide where to work first. I think I will go back to the, like we did, like we started, I'll go back to the pot or the bowl. Start making some decisions there. Okay, I'm gonna try to come in here. Let's try to fix this. So the edge of this shadow, I think in the final one, or the final, I'm going to have this all very dark, so this will just disappear, that edge, but I'm not sure. So let's see. Now we do this edge. We'll keep refining this until it's right, or until we like it. Right now it looks a little wonky to me. Three hours. Yeah, that would not surprise me. Kind of settle in with if it's a nice day, settle in and watch the traffic on the lake, or if it's a rainy day, you probably hunker down under deck and sit with a good book. It's amazing to me how quickly the weather on the lakes changes. It's certainly a fantastic but fierce environment, especially up on Superior, and we were up there in the winter, or heading into winter, probably September, and everything was pretty much shut down or shutting down, and we were out on Lake Superior doing a tour of some caves, I think, and a storm came up like pretty quick. Wasn't a storm, but like rainy weather, and it was a little disconcerting because it started getting choppy, and during the winter, like, it's treacherous, like, 30-40 foot crashing waves against the shore, hence there were caves. But definitely a fantastically magnificent experience. Okay. Oop. Too bright. Right now, I'm just trying to get the edge of the bowl the shape correct, then I can work at refining the Oh, I gotcha. I have not been over that direction. Imagine Erie is as beautiful, at least portions of it. The great thing about painting, y'all, that I'm learning that I'm not real good at is yes, there's a certain amount of skill and technique you can learn, but a lot of it can be improved. A lot of your execution can be improved with simple patience, which is really tough for me. But if you're willing to be patient, God bless Bob Ross, but all of us can't produce a brand new, beautiful painting in 30 minutes. So, if you're willing to put in the work and refine and refine and refine, you can produce some really good work over time. But it does take a little effort and a little discipline and a little patience. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, it'll get there. It'll get there. I'm basically here just adding more layer. The more layers I add, the better it will turn out, because you'll get number one coverage, but then you get a wide variety of textures and finishes like you would with an actual piece of pottery, etc. So I'm kind of playing around with that. Is the first coating, and what will happen is you'll have like this wide variations, which we won't have in the end, but you'll have it'll be kind of dull looking. This blue will be kind of dull. Whoops. And eventually, as we add layers and add additional color, then over time we can correct. Yes, you're exactly right, which is what I'm trying to do here, is kind of paint every subject is made up of shapes, not the round. Yes, you have the roundish shape of the actual bowl, but within the bowl there's kind of this rectangle rounded shape of highlight or reflection from the tabletop. But I don't know if I'll keep it in here, because this will be mostly, in my painting, will be mostly shadow. So it would be a little weird to have reflection bouncing back this way if this is all shadowed. So I'll have to see when I get to it if that's... Right now, I'm going for volume. Like, create the illusion of volume. Or think of volume like three-dimensionality, if that's a word. Is three-dimensionality a word? I just made it up. The three-dimensional perspective of an item. Yeah. So that, y'all, so that. I'm kind of semi becoming happy with the little by little becoming semi happy with the values on the bowl. So we'll keep working this a little bit, and then we'll let it dry for a minute and probably go to the flour and do some work there. There we go. Let's see if we got. I think I went too far down. That's the other thing I'm learning about myself as a painter, that I'm less worried about making big mistakes because I'm like, oh, I'm gaining more confidence painting over my mistakes. When I first started, I didn't know how to adjust. I was uncomfortable mixing color, and I didn't know if I could create the same color. And I mean, I still, not obviously, I still struggle in some regard with that, but I have a lot more confidence in my ability to fix it. And so, yeah, that's okay. So roughly, I mean, it just looks like a two-tone pot right now, or bowl, but we're getting roughly the shape we want. It's a little lopsided up in here, but we can continue to work on that. But yeah, it's getting there. So now what I'd like to do is start doing some precise work on the flour. Let this dry for a minute. And it is 8:15 my time, so you know what that is about this time. Is ta-da! Water cleaning time. I need a little like theme song that plays when I do water cleaning time. I should time how long it takes me to clean my water and then do a little theme song that I can play while and try to get back in time for the. But in the meantime, I'll put the BRB GIF up, and I will be right back. So grab a drink, y'all. Grab some snacks, and meet me back here in like 2 minutes. Lola, were you saying Rocky, like the theme from Rocky, like Eye of the Tiger? Is that the music I should use? Yeah, the Rocky theme song. Excellent. I love how we're on the same wavelength. Yeah, the thrill of the fight. Although I'm afraid if I played that, I would end up getting banned by YouTube or blocked by YouTube. They're pretty strict about playing copyrighted stuff on videos. They will. I think I could probably play it on the live stream, but then it would be blocked on the replays. So we'll see. I need some sort of. I need to shake it up every once in a while. I got to keep it exciting for y'all. Okay, so when I stepped out of the room and then came back, um, like I looked at this and I'm like, oh, I don't hate it. Obviously, like it needs a whole new redo of the background, but I'm kind of digging what we're doing here. So let's keep going. I'm gonna switch to this view again, just so I don't make you all sick. Okay, and back. Okay, let's move it a little more over my shoulder so you can hopefully, let's do this. Let's see. There. I think that's good. All right, let's work on this beautiful flower. And so we want to start to, I'm going to take, Lola, take your advice, and I'm going to focus on painting shapes first. So when I look at this, I see a couple of shapes. What do you all see when you just look at the flowers? Are there any specific shapes that jump out to you? Any clear shapes? It's probably hard to describe without being able to show me, huh? So we've already laid out kind of what I see. I see almost a C shape of the darker, I hate to say darker colors, but the deeper values. And of course, there's highlights in each of these petals, but there's kind of a C shape that goes on this side, and then almost an opposite S sort of C shape on this side, which is really, I want to actually emphasize that, I think, because I think I want these like deeper colors to disappear again, almost disappear into the shadow. And so let me see if I can make that happen value wise. Let's play with this, y'all. Let's play a game of can we create deep value to make it disappear, or de-emphasized is probably a better term. Can we de-emphasize down in here so it kind of just, this just blends into Shadowland even more than the reference photo. Okay. So these are red tones. And to de-emphasize them, we mix what color? Oh, you can see it right there as it comes in. That's right, green. We mix green and it makes this kind of muddy purple color. But it gives us, which doesn't seem like it would make sense, but I promise you. Notice that when I notice when I start putting this color in, this recedes automatically behind these lighter values. So just by putting a deeper value, we're creating receding into the looks a hot mess right now, doesn't it? I agree. Figuring all these things out is actually really fun for me. Another thing that I found interesting by this process of learning to paint is something like this rose is a good example because this peach color on this side looks totally different than it looks like on this side just because of the color it's next to. And so as you're painting, it's really, and now that there's this peach around here, this is looking more green. And so it's really interesting to recognize that you can adjust color, not even by adjusting the color that's on your palette or on your brush, but by the color that it's next to, which is a lot of is interesting. Okay. So I went a little. Well, I don't say I went too far because I don't think that's true. So I had to almost take it down to blunt negatives. Like I have dulled down the colors almost completely so that I could start to see the pockets of shape. But I think this is coming together much better if you just look at this as a block and look at your reference. The tones are not correct necessarily yet, but the color values look correct. Let me see if I can do something So, okay, hold on, y'all. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take my phone off of here and I'm gonna step back. I'll see if I can show y'all. I need to figure out a way that I can do this. I probably need another camera and then my phone hooked into my feed so that you can all see this as I'm doing it. But so what I did is I took a picture of the painting and the reference. Let me go in here and switch this to a black and white. What this will allow us to do, let me save this. Okay. Now look at these. Let me take this down so that it's so you can see. So notice the differences in value when you look at what the light values, where the values are light. We roughly have the correct balance. But notice on this, the lightest value is right here on the painting in the corner. And it should be on the flower right here. I'm not worried about that because we are going to brighten up those tones in the flower, but I want to make sure that the rough values are correct. Notice there's a hard line in the bowl, so I'll need to blend those values a little better, which I had already said. Obviously, the highlight will be easy to put in the end. But we basically need to focus our light or focus our values right there on the flower. But it's in the right place that I want. So when I look at the black and white, it's going in the direction I want because I want the eye drawn right there. And I do looking at the black and white again, I do like, whoops, let me turn my phone. Whoops. I'm messing this up. I do like on the painting how there's the dark shadows around the edges of the painting. So I know that I want to continue to do that. Now I'll have to figure out the right colors to do that in, but or how to smooth that out. But I do like how it looks when it's just black and white. So that's what I started doing when I'm painting on my own recently. Is I'll take about halfway in, like we are. I'll take a black and white photo so that I can see what I'm, where I'm off, and that's how I worked on the to really improve the grape painting this afternoon. I worked on really a couple of times. I took black and whites as I was going and really looked, okay, where are the noticeable value problems? And that really helped me step up the quality of the output I got at the end. So that's what we'll do with this as well. We won't in the next 20 minutes get this done, obviously, but we'll get in a good space, and then I'll continue working on it so you'll be able to see it on Instagram and see the finished product. But I'm excited with where it's going. There's always that moment in here. Okay, let me make sure I am correct again. There we go. So that you see what I see. And I'll put this back. But we will be able to now do some. So again, this was showing up as our brightest value. It'll be easy to tone that down and take it into shadow, so I'm not too concerned about that. Actually, I could just, let me see if I can. Probably mix some paint and do that fairly easily right now. Ooh, that comes up really purple, but we'll fix it. We will fix it. I'm just putting these petals back in here just so I don't forget them. And purple is fine because when you're back in the shadows, the red is going to appear purple anyway. So, okay. Now, so I am pleased with where we are. So now basically the only thing in the flower that I really need to focus on is refining these colors, brightening them back up, making sure that they are the colors that I want them to be. So, okay, that needs to go. Need to clear my. Okay, so let's take the red, the most red tones I have. Let's see, I think are over here. Yeah. To Lola's point earlier, I am going back into this and literally just trying to paint shapes. I'm trying to purposely not look at individual petals. And again, I'm not matching tones yet or correcting tones much. I'm just trying to get I hate to say values. You guys are going to get so tired of me saying values, values. But I have heard teachers on the YouTubes say that that's one of the most difficult things for new artists or student artists to get and to get correct are values. And so that's why I have set for myself what I've also heard from other artists that are where I want to be or ahead of where I am. They say when they started to understand values that it dramatically improved the quality of their outcomes. So for me, I look at this discussion of values as kind of the 80-20 rule. I want to focus on the 20% of this process that's going to give me 80% improvement of the results. Because over time, I can work on the other 80%, like becoming a better actual, improving my drawing, all of the things that would probably make me faster, make me a faster painter. But I'm not too worried because I know I can learn those things. But I want to get some fundamental things correct. And the fundamental things that I get correct, I want to make sure are the 20% that are going to make an 80% difference. If that makes sense. So, yeah, that's where my mind is right now. Ah, yep. That's what I should do. That's what I should do sometime is to do studies before I actually get on the live stream. Maybe I'll start doing that at some point, small black and white studies, because it may make me, once I've worked through these problems, it may make me faster. It may improve my speed. Who knows? That's the guess, right? Okay. So, but this is starting to come together. I'm getting kind of pleased with this. It's just not the bright that I want, and I'm wondering if I Here's the other thing I learned this week that's kind of interesting. Mixing white with anything. Notice this. I don't know if you can see it on my palette. This is mixed with white. This is before mixed with white. White will lighten a tone, but it also dulls it down. So what I notice is when I put the white in, it lightens, but it also dulls down my tone, which at this stage I don't want to happen. I want to start to be able to create vibrant pinks. So, little trick. All right, y'all, we have about 5 minutes left. So we'll get what we can done right now. But I'm going to keep working on this for a while because I think it still has a lot to teach me. So I will be posting some progress photos over on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, please do. It's Stephen E. Rice, Stephen with a V, middle initial E, R-I-C-E. And you can typically see progress photos, sometimes what I'm making for dinner, but mostly progress photos. If you don't follow me already here on YouTube, please do so. I agree. Yeah, tonight was fun. It was, but yeah, it did seem to move very quick. I think maybe because just like getting that background set took so much time at the beginning. But I mean, I was just chatting my way through it, so I didn't feel I didn't feel bored. Hope y'all didn't either. All right. Let's pause here and look at what we've done. So we have the basic framework of a really nice little painting. Obviously, the side needs to be improved, or not the side, the background needs to be finished. But I have a feeling, or I'm confident, that as I continue to work on this and then finish this out and put the nice background around, it's going to be a really beautiful painting because the light's going to look like it's shining right there where we want it. So I'm excited to keep working on this and see. It's definitely stretching the limits of my ability, which is always fun for me. I like getting to the edge where my inability or my capacity is limited, because then if I can push past that, I always develop new skills and new new, I guess, insights that help me become a better painter, which is the fun of it for me. Is can I push myself to the edge as often as possible in order to improve? So that's great. As I have been watching tonight, I thought more than once about the first 3 or 4, how much more fun they are. I'm glad they're more fun on your end, because that's the thing. Y'all are sitting basically for 2 hours watching me. I'm actually doing the thing. I do believe that in addition to improving my painting, which is probably more interesting to y'all, I'm becoming more aware of my own process, and I'm also becoming more adept at talking and narrating what's going on in my head and explaining things that may be interesting to you. And so that's kind of fun too, because I'm becoming a better broadcaster. So I'm that type of person that can never do just one thing. So that feeds that curious part of my brain that likes to do multiple things and improve. So yeah, I appreciate you all joining me this evening. Again, follow me here on YouTube or Instagram to check the progress photos as I go, especially this one, because we didn't get as far as we normally do. It doesn't feel done at all to me yet. And I'll probably put another 8 to 10 hours at least into this, I would imagine, before I get it to where I want. Especially after just coming down off the grapes, which I felt like really came together well. Once you execute at that level, it's hard to settle for less than what you know you can do. So that's what I'll be working on. Again, thank you for joining me this week. We will be back next week, 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday for the 23rd episode of the live stream. You can all of these are booked out on YouTube, so you can set notifications for those and get notified that we will be doing. But, I should show y'all. So I did, yesterday, I did a bunch of quick sketches on some different paintings I'll be doing. I don't know if I'll do these all on live stream, but you can see a cute little doe that I'll paint at some point. These are a friend's puppy. They put glasses on him, and I thought he was really cute. And then another picture of him. So I sketched a bunch of those. They won't all go on the live stream, but I will be painting those. So those are things to look forward to on Instagram. Sorry. Here's another. These are probably likely to show up on the live stream, so you all are getting previews of coming attractions. This one is a bee, a large bee on a flower. So I think that will be a really beautiful, it's like bright yellow sunflower, I think. But I think that will be a fun one to paint, a bee that, 4 or 5 inches across. Here's another one I did of I don't know what kind of bird it is. It looks kind of like almost like a sandpiper or something, but it's not. It's larger. He'll be fun to paint. And then this one I think will be beautiful if I can make it work. It's a peacock. And so I'm looking forward to painting him. So that's preview of coming attractions for y'all. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all next week. Again, 7 p.m. Central Time. Have a good night, everybody, and have a great rest of your weekend.